What's good, y'all? Name's Open Book. Here's my partner.
Hey guys, this is Harith. Welcome back to TruSpace.
Yep, and let's talk about Venus in Scorpio. We got Venus going into Scorpio right now, and Venus is debilitated in Scorpio, which just simply means uh, we have a harder time diving into that Venetian energy, being sensual, being exchanging our emotions when things are so intense as they do get in Scorpio. So, how do you think this transit is going to be affecting the collective?
So, like what Caesar is saying here, what we love, appreciate, relate to, compromise, our value is going to be in the intense area of Scorpio, where it's much more focused on our fixated, stubborn emotions related to our like power control issues, secrets, passions, and desires, and things like that. So that's where our love matter is going to be. But here, Scorpio has a very transformative, regenerative aspect where it's trying to almost like transform what we truly love or appreciate on like the deepest level possible, so we could utilize this Venetian energy in a proper way since it's very powerful. But a lot of us like whore out Venus energy in general with all the sugar,
Yeah.
sexual activity, all different type of things that activate your hormones, which is what Venus represent here. And in Scorpio, it's a very deep, dark place, forcing you to be more sensitive and aware on how you utilize it. And Scorpio deals also with like I think money and behind the scene transactions and things like that. And so you're probably gonna become more aware of the value of your love, what you appreciate, what you compromise with, what you relate to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. And it's probably so needed. Like with Venus being so central and being
Being a
so
whore, yo.
being a whore, wanting pleasure, and going into Scorpio was like really being sat down and being told no, or really being sat down and being deprived of pleasure, for some time. And then we resist that, we run away from that so heavy, but it is so powerful when you do. And it's essential in every pleasure cycle to delay that type of gratification, to experience that a form of level of death, especially at this time when Venus in Scorpio, because it's only going to discombobulate the type of energy that you have when you progress into Venus in Sagittarius. It's going to be all over the place when you deal with the expansion of pleasure, and you never had a refractory period. You've never had a period where you went more in depth and understood the core of what it means to have pleasure. And that's why you have to give death, because you cannot know the core of the pleasure if it's always there. Like you'll never know why you always do this thing until it's gone, or something breaks up that continuity, and then it's ever clear of what role that had played within your life, and what was really important, and what your values are. You could be thinking, oh, this immediate gratification, da 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 da, and then all of a sudden you're broke. All of a sudden your car breaks down. All of a sudden something puts death to that. And then you start realizing that, oh shit, I've been neglecting this. Oh, I have a whole son. What, his birthday was when? Oh, I forgot. You be neglecting all your life, or other areas of your life. But that death period, that refractory period, really helps you reorganize your values, and what really matters to you. What does pleasure really mean to you too?
And if anything, it will create new height of pleasures and things
Mm,
like that. Especially when you go to Sagittarius, where you've been holding back, fasting, and doing all these things while Venus was transforming in Scorpio, defeating all your uh, demonic maybe feelings and toxic habits and things like that. So when it goes to Sagittarius, like it went through this transformation, and when it sees the light of Sagittarius, it just explodes, like it reaches death and it dies and it transforms.
100%. Transforming that energy can be used for new things within our lives right now. So take note of what's being said and what can happen. This is the getting ridding of the toxemia within your body. A level of that you derived from pleasure, that you derive from your relationships, that you derive from your physical possessions. So this is the time where a lot of things can get toxic, but you have to realize that that is the natural immune response for to get rid of toxemia. It has to come through the surface and have a route of elimination. There has to be a route for it to be eliminated, for it to pass through, for it to actually be gone. Otherwise, it'll just keep being suppressed. So I feel like with an alignment like this, you could get, more toxic relationships, or the toxicity within relationships start coming up. Maybe some situations forcing pleasure to take a standstill, or pleasure is not as easy now. And now you start to reorganizing your values. The toxicity that's been building up that hasn't been tended to starts coming up to the surface, and all of a sudden these nasty exchanges are starting to happen, and it's like, where did this come from? But it was always there. It was always there. It was just lurking under the surface. And it sometimes it takes death. Sometimes it really does take the reaper to come for niggas to know that it's real, for niggas to
Mm-hmm.
know that there's no games being played here. It's gonna take. This could even be, for some reason, the government. You look at your account and you see money short, and it's like, what? This isn't a subscription. This is what's going on. What's going on? But you've been playing the wrong games, or at least your values, weren't there. I feel like this is like a drug dealer alignment. Like if a nigga has Scorpio and Venus, they might be dealing
No,
dope or some shit like that.
the Jesuits in their natal chart, they have Venus in Scorpio, Mercury
Ah.
in Scorpio. I was like, damn.
Yeah, Venus and Scorpio sounds like a nigga selling weed for sure, for sure, for sure. And then that's even Taurus is all about weed too, which is funny. 420, that's Taurus season, when Taurus season starts. And it's the opposition. So maybe the opposition would be dealing the drugs, would be the dealer. But yeah, that's Venus and Scorpio, and it's gonna be showing, maybe even be a death to an asset. Like what I was saying, losing some money, losing an asset, maybe losing a car, experiencing some type of loss on an asset level. Now keep in mind, this doesn't mean that you have to lose your nice things, but if that's the flow that the universe is taking to teach you your lessons, man, don't resist it, and really try and take everything in with stride. But know that we can be proactive in terms of the things that we can do, and we can take this energy and manifest it into our lives ourselves, so that they don't have to act subconsciously within our own lives. AKA, we can start putting death and to certain pleasures, and start to transform our own values, our damn selves, so that spirit doesn't have to come in and be like, oh, I'm gonna randomly take this. You're already in that state of being, so it's going to work with you. This is how you start working with God, co-creating. This is the purpose of astrology, why we stay up to date with these types of things, so that we don't become victimized by these energies, so that we can know ahead of time, and then we can be the co-creators. And you can only be the co-creator when you know what type of energy it is that is needed to be working with. And that is that scorpionic right now, that really intensifying. And it's not even giving death the pleasures, like you were saying, no to pleasures. That's not the vibe of Venus and Sagittarius. That is not the vibe of Venus and Sagittarius. It
No, if
is
any,
a
the opposite.
if it's the exact opposite. It's an intense deepening of that, which is at its height when something dies. So that's why the death connotations is there, because it's that loss that often creates that depth, that inner depth. Those people that reach the highest of highs, they're going to tell you a sad origin story that created a certain level of depth within them, that allowed them to penetrate, that allowed them to go to the regions that they had. A lot of people, you're not going to have a healthy relationship. A lot of people in relationships are good on the surface, but that's because they don't talk about their problems. You know what I mean? So you may look at the toxicity in a relationship, or that toxemia coming out, trying to find an elimination route as if it's a bad thing, but that's the natural course of relationships, the world, the body. Fall time comes, the leaves fall and decompose, and there's no stopping that. There's no, and the more you resist that, you're preventing the nutrients from building up the tree. And it's just your perspective. It's just the modern day Jewish mysticism perspective that you think that the leaves are dying off of the trees, when it's an extension of the tree, and the tree's giving up the leaves to help itself. So like we have these separate types of mindsets. So same thing with us. You think you lose something, you think a piece of you is gone now, which is quite the contrary. A piece of you is free. A piece of you is liberated now. That is free energy for you to use to create, to do whatever you want with, once that
It's
toxemia comes out.
it's like I think Joe, what's his name? Joe, the meditation dude. Um,
Dispenza.
Joe Dispenza, yeah, he talks about how a lot of us, we have a lot of free energy within us, but we cannot tap into it because we used our energy to build certain mental processes that works against us. So what happened? We've been putting a lot of subconscious energy into these like energy circuits that work in not in our benefit, to the point these energy circuits, they take our energy away, meaning that we start paying attention to them, aka the thought that keep playing around in the back of your mind over and over, dealing with say not doing that. But once you're able to break that circuit, you have all this awareness, free energy to utilize in constructing a different type of way of thinking.
Well, 100%. Sometimes I be talking to niggas, and just the shit that maybe they're talking about someone else. Uh, uh,
Yeah,
and
wasting their time.
I'm like, yo, my mind, that sounds so exhausting. And they go to the
So
depths. They're
constricted,
like showing
yo.
you their Instagram, be like, yo, this person went to I'm like, yo, like you really, with everything this person did this weekend. I'm like, yo, aren't you tired, bro? Why aren't you
Yeah.
tired? Like, god
Mm.
damn, the amount of energy that we be putting into all of that. 100%.
This is why Dolo, my favorite quote for him from him is humans use their mind in the wrong things. Essentially, we don't know how
Mm-hmm.
where to put our mind. And like we're just speaking about Mercury and Capricorn, I'm 100% that would teach you where to put your mind practically.
100%, 100%, especially when you're looking for the authenticity, because then you realize there's a whole bunch of things that you can't back, and there's a select things that maybe you can, and that you haven't been putting your energy and attention onto the things that you can, and then you've been supporting other people's ideas and systems and structures and stuff like that. But yeah, Joe
Mm.
Dispenza talks about how 95% of your mental processes by the time you're like 30 is automatic.
Mm.
So 90% of the thoughts that you have are the same thoughts that you had the previous day.
And
So
they're weak thoughts too. They're not
ex-
like important big thoughts. So like some of us, our circuit is built on small micro things that don't matter. So we're not even functioning and are the best of our ability with the program they even gave us. So it's like you don't even know what you could actually do if you really think about it.
100%. We're literally polluting our systems with, say, stress hormones, all of these different types of visceral physical responses. And it's in training based off of your mental activity. So, like, just because you're going to work, and you already assume, you already put in a perspective that your coworkers are going to put you into this state of being, that your boss is going to ride you like this state of being, and before the actual event even happens,
You already
because of
created the
that, you
experience.
created the
Your blood pressure
experience
went to the roof. Your heart
through the
started beating.
roof. You created all this neurochemistry, all of these stress hormones before it had even happened, because your body's just so entrained to that. And then what happens the next day? You go back to work and you do it again. And then what
It's
happens
almost
the
like
next? You go back to work and do it again.
Bro, it's almost like you go into work double the times you should be because you're putting your mind in the experience before, then you go into the experience yourself. It's almost like shooting yourself in your own leg. Craziest funny shit ever.
That's what happens. And a lot of times, and this may connect with Venus and Scorpio too. A lot of times we have frozen memory or frozen energy within us where we keep on replaying certain experiences or certain thoughts or certain emotions that are stuck in a certain point of time. It may have happened 10 years ago with
Oh,
certain
trust me,
people,
past
but
lifetimes
it's
too.
frozen in past life 100%, and it's frozen. This is the toxemia. This is the emotion that we're talking about with Venus and Scorpio that has to get released. You have to give death to these things, aka you have to set it free, let it free, and that's going to create the flow of energy. You're going to feel those emotions, but it's going to leave. And a lot of us, we get addicted to certain thoughts. And Joe Dispenza in his book, he talks about a shorty named Well, Anna's probably not her real name, but yo, when I read it, I was like, yo, this is the worst. I would have killed myself. I wouldn't have made it to the end. Shorty's husband committed suicide, and then he got into some gambling trouble, so he was extremely in debt. So she had to deal with his debt now, and they already had two kids. So she's mad at him for killing himself and then leaving them and drowning in debt.
Yo,
And
that
then
sounds so Venus and Scorpio, yo.
yo, real talk, yo. And then her health starts to diminish because she's playing these thoughts over and over and over again. She develops an autoimmune disease. She develops some type of nervous disease where she paralyzes herself from the waist down based off of this negative thinking. Based off of this negative thinking, where it's not like she had a tragic accident and hurt herself within specific degree. Then she developed cancer, but then she found Joe Dispenza's materials and stuff like that, started realizing that she's creating the reality, that she can take control of her autonomic nervous system, started doing the meditations that he had proposed, and slowly but surely, she walked herself back. She healed her cancer, she healed her autoimmune disease, not overnight. It took her probably about 2 years, three
Mhm.
years to be able to get. She had to walk herself back. She understood that it took a long time for her to get to that point, so she had to walk herself back. But she was able to cure all of that. But that's what meditation does. It
I,
helps you dive into the body to find that energy to be able to release it, to
I
create
like
that
what
newness.
I like the way you say like she's trying to find her way back. But ask yourself where she's trying to find her way back to her subconscious mind from her conscious mind. That's what even Joe Dispenza explains about. You have to use your consciousness to learn how to explore your subconscious mind because you don't have full access to it, and it sends you messages and a very communicate with you in different ways, but that depends on the capacity of your conscious mind. So you have to use your conscious mind to travel back to the subconscious mind, but the conscious mind has the limitation of not understanding the subconscious mind, and that's the part where they teach you about the meditation on how to integrate both these things together and create like whole body coherence.
Exactly. That's exactly what we were talking about in the last video. When you start creating that coherence, when you start doing that, your brain waves start in your hemisphere functions start to link up, and they start to link up with the emanations of your heart, and they start to link up with everything, and then now everything's working in harmony. And then in those states, depression doesn't exist.
You
People
become
have to
joy boy.
understand. You become joy boy, drums of liberation, yo. Real talk, real talk. But people don't realize that these emotions are vibrations. They're vibrations that you can raise
Oh.
up to. So if you're depressed, you're vibrating at the frequency of depression. So you can raise your frequency and vibration by exercise. You're literally doing that. But just to show you that that's a simple example of how you can raise your energy within one way, but then you can do it through thought, you can do it through emotion. Elevated emotions are the most powerful ways to do this types of stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
you kick a game right now. You gotta make a video about this stuff
No, I know, hundred
alone,
percent.
bro.
No, 100%. And you all this ties into Venus and Scorpio, since like Venus deal also with
It
emotions
does.
and desires and things like that. In Scorpio, I was deal with like energy efficiency and things like that. So I'm pretty sure with Venus going through Scorpio, we're gonna have to learn on how what's the true value or the efficient way of utilizing this Venus energy.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And then maybe we can even just quickly take a look at how Venus is going to look traveling through the zodiac, the type of stuff it's going to pass by.
I think it's gonna be opposite Uranus and Jupiter and Taurus, right?
Ooh, yes. Oh, yeah. So we're having what do you think the opposition that Venus is going to make with Jupiter and Uranus? What do you think that's going to be like?
This is a good opposition because it really make you pay attention on how we're gonna utilize this Venus energy in a transactional way. Because we have all this what's going on with Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, where we're focused on trying to be unique and original and try to expand on our like material wealth and the way we ground ourselves. But with all that energy that's going on, physical reality, and in terms of physical things, is forcing us to pay attention on how we utilize the power of Venus here, because it could affect what's going on there. Because if Venus in Scorpio becomes negative, where we want to transform our pleasure and things like that, that might take us to bad habits and negative things, which destroy what we'll be expanding on and try to learn and try to expand, try to build essentially.
Yeah, 100%. I understand what you mean. That uniqueness with Uranus that we've been trying to develop, that abundance that we've been trying to develop within the
Yeah, and
physical world, within our resources. And the Scorpio, your drug problem or your
you're a
toxic
crackhead now.
relationship,
You're a crackhead.
because it fucks it all up, bro. You real talk, yo. So we got to be careful of that. That's why we're talking about. And then look at how the moon is with Venus as it's opposing Jupiter too, adding more emotional, or any more irrational possibilities too. This is why we have to jump ahead of the giving death to things phase, or the intensification, the letting go of things phase. So once you get the
Mhm.
jump on it, it's not like the universe is like, okay, we're gonna have to let go of your wallet, we're gonna have to let go of your money. No, it's like,
No,
hey,
no, no. So
let go this, let go this. You know, the universe will take that, the
yeah,
offering, that sacrifice.
the more you give death to things, the more God will show you grace. Because like, yeah, allow for possibility of things to happen too. You're not holding on to no shape or forms, yo. You're very generous. Oh, God is like, look at you. Oh, you're so generous, yo.
100%. 100%. Where abundance too, or matters of stability really can get in the way of your relationships too, where maybe your partners are excelling, and you know, they leave you behind, you're excelling, you leave someone else behind, or you know, there could be that dynamic of struggle going on too. But yeah, those Uranus and Jupiter oppositions are definitely going to be intense. Definitely. And then it's going to come into a trine with Neptune. How do you think a trine with Venus and Neptune,
With
what is
Venus and
that going to do?
Scorpio,
Hmm.
that's intense. That could send you to La La Land depending on how you're gonna utilize this Venus energy in Scorpio. Positively, if you could transform and take power control of your love matter, what you compromise with, you could utilize that and utilize certain spiritual aspect of Neptune in Scorpio and add more like a form of like spirituality and broaden your perspective. But negatively, you could become like a drug addict with negative habit of Venus and Scorpio, and then what make it more is gonna make it more confusing and make you more lost in La La Land is gonna be Neptune and Pisces, yo. I'm telling everybody, do not develop bad habits in this alignment. You might develop bad habits in a way you do not realizing it. Since we're dealing here with the water element with both planet, you might become like a crackhead without realizing it, yo.
100%. Where, yo, 100%. And Neptune's creating the illusion, or and the confusion to to lead to the suppression, to the lead to the unawareness of the actions that are actually being taken and what's actually going on. So we have to be careful when we're dealing with that energy. But just like what we were talking about, when things get bad, or once you start uncovering things, or when you get within the underlying your operating system, that's where the real change starts to happen. So even though you may run and be chased to the call to escape, that space that you're running away from is the space that you need to become aware of. That's where the change is, what you're running away from. So even the act of you're in that spot, you just have to not run away, if you get what I mean. Venus
Mm-hmm.
and Neptune is going to get you to that spot. Are you going to run away though? That's the answer to the trine. And the trine is that accelerating of a process. And once it brings you to that, now you have no choice but to deal with those emotions. Now you have no choice but to give death to what hasn't been serving you. Give death to those, and maybe your spirituality, maybe having a dream, a higher belief is what's going to allow you to release that energy, because you know that there's more that can come. So it can be very nurturing too if you allow it. If you run away though, um, mad fogginess, mad water. You drowning yourself and you're drowning others within that water.
No, 100%.
And that's Christmas Eve, yo. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro, that's perfect for Christmas, yo. For giving the Christmas this la la land energy, yo.
And then Venus is 24 degrees, Neptune is 24 degrees, and it's Christmas Eve, December 24th.
Wow,
Right?
wow, that's crazy.
That is kind of crazy. That is crazy. Some shit's gonna happen on that day for sure. There's a lot of energy within that. But yeah, that's Venus's transit within Scorpio, y'all. So yeah, there's mad opportunities for us to take advantage of this energy, but we have to take the charge, and we can't be afraid of death. We have to be ready and willing to let things go, open to transform emotionally. We can't be trying to hold on to these emotions, with your white knuckles, what like holding on to certain relationships and how things are. Things change, things transition. And if you don't hold out the room for it, something new is not going to come. And that's it. Just like what Dolo's talking about, how like the being we live in, the water dragon snake being, he says that it's already dead type of thing, or
Yeah,
we're already in a
it's a
transition type
flunked
thing.
out, victimized person. Yeah, if you ever sit down and ask yourself, why am I lost? Why am I vulnerable? And all these questions, why you feel like a nigga and shit like that? Because the being you live inside is get treated by one. You know, trust me.
Exactly. That's what's creating the environment to sustain those feelings and emotions. 100%. So we need to be open to letting things go, or the realization that something is dead and gone is what's going to allow us to expand beyond it. But yeah, y'all, that's Venus in Scorpio. But yeah, check out the website, TruSpace.biz. Check out the Instagram, TruSpace underscore. Like, subscribe, comment, all of that shit. And we'll catch you guys later.
Easy. Take care.